Art is subjective. Everyone has a different interpretation of what art can be. Some might consider art to be life itself, and that is exactly what the horror game Abe showed us. In 2012, when the RPGmaker trend started picking up, a game made by Kouri titled Abe was released. It tells the story of a 9-year-old girl who went into an art gallery with her parents and wandered off alone until she eventually interacted with a mysterious painting that took her into another place where various arts came to life and is out to get her. The game quickly became popular after its release, amassing over 1 million downloads worldwide, and was considered a cult classic among indie horror adventure games. But despite the game not having a heavy emphasis on horror, many didn't realize the disturbing thing that our 9-year-old protagonists were going through. The game begins in the early afternoon where Eve and her family arrive at the Gortena Art Gallery. The family then register at the front desk, but Eve was too excited and asked her mother if she could look around while they sorted out their attendance. Her mother lets her on the promise that she won't be a bother to other people and doesn't make any noise. Not that she worried because Eve is a quiet girl. Eve then explored the art gallery when she saw various paintings and sculptures with description that she couldn't understand because it's too hard for her, but she was still excited to see them regardless. When she got to the third floor, Eve saw a large painting titled Whirl. She couldn't understand the name, but still, she's attracted to it. Suddenly, the light flickered for a second there. When she went down, the art gallery is mysteriously empty. Not a single person in sight. Not even her parents. Eve panically runs around hoping to find her parents. Along the way, weird things start to happen. Some of the painting in the art gallery seems to be alive. Eve returns to the third floor where the large painting was seen and found a blue paint dripping from the painting. When she looked at it, a writing appeared on the floor asking her to come somewhere. A blue footprint is seen leading her to the first floor and into the painting of a large fish. When she opens her eyes, Eve is now in a blue room. She followed the right path and saw a red rose inside a vase. The paper on the wall is something of a warning to her about the rose, but she couldn't read the rest since she didn't understand some of it. Eve then enters the door in front of her and found a single painting of a woman with her hair grown out of the frame. When she picked up the key just under it, the painting's expression changed. Disturbed by it, she exited the room and found out that the walls are now covered in writings, calling her a thief. The vase that was empty before is now filled with water. She dipped the rose into the vase and surprisingly, she felt energetic. Using the key that she obtained before, she opened the blue door and entered the green room. Inside this room, various paintings of insects is seen displayed on the wall. One particular insect asked Eve to help bring its portrait close to it. Since Eve is such a nice child, she decided to help the ant. Not too far from where the ant was, there's a sign that warns people to be careful around the edges. Eve doesn't know better and decides to check out what happened, and then at the end of this hallway filled with hands, Eve discovered a locked green door and a portrait of an ant. She took it with her and showed it to the ant, and then went into the room at the end of this hallway to use the portrait as a makeshift bridge. She must be very lightweight because the painting is still fine even if she stepped on it. On the other side, she found a green key right next to a suspicious red statue. When she picked up the key, the statue came to life and chased after her. Eve rushed out of the room and seconds later, she heard crashing sound. With the green key, she opened the green door and entered a yellow room. In this room, she must find the key in the form of a wooden fish scattered on each room. On the left side, a stick figure asked her to play hide and seek, and after finding it, she obtained the head part. On the right side, Eve found the body part on top of the shelves. When she got all two of them, she combined it and used it on the fish-shaped keyhole. A pathway opened up afterward, leading her to the rest of the yellow room. In this area, Eve needs to solve a few puzzles to obtain a blue fruit that she could give to the hungry lips so that she could pass through. To do that, she had to find a sprout-shaped wind-up key in 3 places to grow the tree in the middle of the hall. The first one is located in the liar's room where upon finding the right location, the other painting murders the one who tells the truth. The second one is located at the end of the right hallway, and finally the third one is cleverly hidden behind a hanging body. With all three wind-up key being found, Eve took the fruit from the tree and gave it to the lips on the wall, allowing her to proceed. On the other side, Eve saw several paintings of a guillotine where it progressively gets lifted until at the end a real one appeared. Eve quickly dodged back at the last minute before the guillotine hit her. She quickly went down the stairs where it took her into a red room. Inside this red room, Eve saw a painting of a lady in a red dress, but when she interacted with it, the painting came to life and chased after her. Eve quickly runs to avoid her but noticed a red key dropped by the lady in red. Carefully maneuvering around her, she grabbed the key and opened the red door in this room. The red room took her in the room full of books. The door in front of her is locked for some reason, and the only way to open it is by reading a picture book where it showed a disturbing scene of children celebrating the birthday of one of their friends. They had a surprise where they hide a coin in the cake. The birthday girl accidentally ate the coin, and when it's time to clean up, the mother of one of the children mentioned that she lost a key to the study room. We then get to see the coin on the table, meaning that the thing the birthday girl ate was not a coin, but it was a key instead. The pink-haired girl took the knife and cut open her friend's stomach to get the key back. The curtain closed and the door opens. Eve arrived on the other side and decided to check out the right path. She found a person lying on the floor and was in a lot of pain. Looking at him closely, she noticed that he's holding a key. Eve took the key from him and went to the left path. Here, she saw blue petals scattered on the floor. When she unlocked the door, she found the blue lady picking apart a rose flower. When it saw Eve, it quickly tried to chase after her. Eve quickly lured it away from the flower so she could pick it up and revive it by dipping it in a vase. She then returns to the man and gave the blue rose back to him. The man was initially scared of Eve until he realized that she's also a victim trapped in this place. He introduced himself as Gary, and after he got to know Eve a little more, he decided to take the role of the adult figure here, protecting her from any danger until they escape the place. With Gary joining, Eve can access areas that are blocked off by statue and read difficult words that are too hard for a 9-year-old to understand. Moving along, Gary removes the obstacle blocking the red door and they enter the grey room. In this area, they need to find the bride's ring to obtain a bouquet of flowers so they could trade it with one of the paintings that suspiciously asked for their roses just so they could move to the next area. To do that, they had to solve a few puzzles where at the end, they found the ring behind the head of the white statue. Once they got the bouquet of flower, Eve offered it to the painting, and just as they feared, the painting started eating the flower. Had they given their roses to the painting, both of them would have died. The next area is separated by a long hallway where rows of mannequin heads lined up on either side and a portrait with eyes that followed them everywhere. On this new area, they need to obtain a grey key to open the grey door. At some point, Eve unlocked a room where a single mirror was the only thing that was in that room. As they were looking through, a mannequin head appeared in the mirror's reflection. Gary was about to kick it before Eve stopped him from doing so. Gary, although he was shaken up, admitted that it was a bit childish of him. They continued solving the puzzle until eventually they opened up the cage door. Inside, they found the grey key resting on a portrait of Eve's parents. Gary was surprised to find that out and wondered why the painting was there. He tried to reassure Eve that her parents are safe because he noticed that Eve is not as brave as he thought she is. As they tried to leave, they heard a sound, and when they tried to open the door, it didn't budge. And worse, they can hear banging from the wall. A crack appeared on the wall that slowly grows larger until eventually the blue lady in the painting appeared. Eve and Gary quickly leaps through the open hole on the wall and was shocked to find mannequin heads were blocking their way to the grey door. They decide to take the long route while being chased by various ladies in the painting. Both of them quickly make their way to the grey door and exit the place. As they catch their breath, Eve, who's already tired from all of this, fell unconscious. We then see Eve in an unknown room filled with numbers, and her rose somehow was missing. She searched around for it but couldn't find it. As she moved close through the corridor, she saw her parents' figure, but as she tried to get close to them, her parents disappeared. Eve continued on until eventually she hit a dead end and the same grey lady from before rapidly closing in on her. As he got close to her, Eve immediately woke up. It was all just a nightmare. Gary then approached her and asked how she felt. He attempted to cheer her up by offering the candy that was in his jacket. After a bit of conversation between the two of them and plenty of rest, they left the place and continued on. While exploring the purple room, they met another person who's in the same situation as them. The girl introduced herself as Mary, quickly warmed up to them and joined their party in search for an exit. At the end of the purple room, they decided to check the room with the rabbit painting. Gary told him that the room is unsettling to him, but Mary thought otherwise. She loved the room and asked Eve if she also thinks that way. Eve was unsure of whether she liked it or not, which disappointed Mary a bit. Suddenly, one of the rabbit figure fell down and shattered like glass. Eve noticed that there's something gleaming, and when she picked it up, it was a key for the next room. Immediately, they exit the place to open the door, but before they could go there, they heard a sound coming from the painting that gradually gets close to them until eventually vines as hard as rock appeared, separating both Eve and Gary. Mary suggests they unlock the purple door to see if there's anything in that room that could help them free Gary. Initially, Gary was hesitant to let them go since he feared for their safety, but since there's nothing they could do there, he reluctantly agrees to what Mary suggested. Even Mary then unlocks the purple door and they found themselves inside a storage area. While searching, Mary found a palette knife which she kept for later uses. After searching a bit more and not finding anything useful, they decide to go back to Gary, but then the lights suddenly flicker and a sculpture blocked their exit. Since there's no way they'll be able to push it, their only option is to go out the other door. We then switch to Gary, who decides to explore the room with the rabbit portrait again to see if there's any clue there. When he enters, we get to see what he saw exactly. Apparently, the room wasn't filled with rabbit portrait and figures, but rather demonic looking figure that is unsettling to look at. Gary noticed that one of the bookshelves looks like it's been moved recently. He then pushed it aside and found a hole that led him to another room blocked up by a hard vine and 5 cords hanging down. After pulling the cord one by one, he found out that the 4th one released a painting from where Eve and Mary's at and creates a makeshift bridge, which they use to cross to the other side. Before leaving, they drop the moon-shaped item down the gap, which Gary pushed into the moon-shaped hole, allowing him to proceed to the rest of the purple room. In this new area, Gary needs to collect 7 mysterious ball paint, but to do that, he had to do several puzzles, with some that can only be completed with the help of Eve from the 2nd floor. While trying to solve one of the puzzles, Gary discovered a book that gives detail on Gertena's last work. The painting was called Mary, and in that book, it showed what the painting looked like. Gary was shocked to find out that the painting is exactly like Mary, the person they just met. He quickly realized that Mary is not a real person and Eve was in danger. He needs to get to her quickly. Back outside, Gary found the last 2 paintballs located inside the doll that's been following him and inside the room next to it. When he tries to exit the room, the door was locked. A writing appeared on the floor inviting him for another treasure hunt, this time asking him to find the key. A clock chime can be heard and the place gradually becomes dark. A creepy demonic figure slowly appears from the painting as Gary tries his hardest to find the key. Eventually, he finds it and immediately rushed out. He took a break for a while after experiencing the incident and then went up the stairs. We then switch back to Eve, who finds Mary acting weird. When she asks what's wrong, Mary just runs away. Eve was surprised by her behavior. Perhaps Mary had something urgent to do, so she didn't bother chasing after her. Eve then enters the room where previously it was colorless, but now a rainbow bridge appears, allowing her to get the brown key. With the brown key, she opens the locked door and went in, only for Mary to appear all of a sudden, asking her why is she running away from her with a scary expression on her face. She gradually gets close to Eve, but Gary came in the right time and saved her. Gary explained to Eve that Mary is not human. She's one of the paintings that came to life and they should escape from her. Eve agrees and the two escape from here. They arrive in an area where everything looks hand-drawn by a child. They saw a map that shows them the exit. The problem is they need a toy box key. Suddenly, they heard a noise coming not too far from where they're at. It seems like the sound came from the house on the left. After entering, they had a brief encounter with Mary, who's looking for them with the intention to hurt them. Gary knows they couldn't waste any more time. After solving a few puzzles that unlocked the toy house where they could finally get the key, Gary noticed that the toy box appeared to be large in size and couldn't see the bottom of it. Suddenly, Mary pushes them and they fell into the toy box. At the bottom of the box, Eve briefly lost her rose before finding it again alongside the toy box key. She wakes Gary up just in time for everything in that room to come to life. They made a dash to the exit and surprisingly, they didn't fall too far, but they noticed that the toy box had disappeared and what's in front of them are stairs that covered in vines. Gary noticed that the vines are not real. Eve suggested that they burn the vine and it immediately opens the path upstairs. As they went up, Mary quickly came and threatened them, telling them to leave. Eve had no choice but to run away, and when they got to her painting, her only choice is to burn the painting, killing Mary for good. Relief washed over their face as they realized there is no more threat. Eve noticed that Gary hurt his hand during the commotion and offered him her handkerchief to stop the bleeding. He gladly accepted. The two make their way to the exit where he took them down a long staircase and into the art gallery. Gary realizes that this is the real art gallery. They quickly return to the huge painting that took them to the other world before. When they got there, Gary wondered how are they going to jump into the painting when suddenly the painting's frame disappeared. Taking no chances, Gary jumped into the painting first. He urged Eve to follow him, but just as she was about to go in, a familiar voice calls out to her. It was the figure of her mother. Gary urged Eve to come quickly and even offered to pull her up as he didn't know how much time they have left. After much thought, Eve decided to take Gary's hand and both of them escaped the place. When they got out, Eve was standing in front of the large painting. She can't remember what she's doing, but she knew it was something important. When she got down, she explored a bit of the art gallery until he met a man standing in front of a large rose statue who, for some reason, looks familiar. She then went up to the person and asked what he's looking at. The guy explained that looking at the rose gave him a sense of sorrow. He then apologized to her and accidentally called her name, which he wonders who is this Eve person. Eve then explained that that is her name. As he's about to leave, he realized that he had a handkerchief with him. Suddenly, waves of memory came rushing back and Gary remembers what happened. He asked Eve if she remembers it too, and she said yes. Gary was relieved to hear that because what they experienced was not a dream and that they truly had survived the ordeal. He wanted to talk a bit more but realized that he's running out of time. Before leaving, he told her that he's going to return the handkerchief soon after he cleaned it off. The two bid farewell with the promise of reunion in the future. There is a total of 7 endings in the game. Not only that, it's not easy to get it if you didn't look at a guide. Although the remake made it easier to get the true ending, which we will talk more later. Eve has a system where it counts Gary's doom and bond counter. For Mary, you only get a bond counter as she's not real and cannot be killed until the endgame. But all in all, this system will determine what ending you'll get. Each area you visit with Gary have a counter. Like for instance, in the grey room, inside the room with the mirror where the mannequin appeared, if you let Gary kick the mannequin, it will increase his doom counter by 1. Get this counter up to 3 or more, then Gary's death is 100% confirmed. Similarly, if you prevent him from doing that, you'll earn bond point. Talking to him also increased the bond point, which is my next point on the true ending. A while ago, someone said that getting the true ending was going to be hard for the first time. And while it's true for the original game, Remake made it easier to get the true ending. And I did it without even knowing about the counter at all. In my playthrough, as soon as Gary joins my party, the game immediately informs me that I can talk to him. So what I did was I returned to the past area just to see what his reactions are. And it didn't disappoint. Each time we arrive in a new place, I never miss a bit to talk to him to see what he thinks about this place. In short, I exhaust all of his dialogue. Anyways, there's a total of 7 endings. Since I already got the true ending, there's 6 of them left. Starting with the ending Eve all alone, there's actually 4 variations of this. The first variation is after Eve decided to not go up the stairs where Mary's painting is located and Gary died. She decided to wait for a bit longer after the painting's frame disappeared, but that was a mistake because after that, the painting returns to normal, trapping her forever in the painting world. While the first variation left her truly alone in the painting world, at least the second variation, she still has company. After Gary died and Eve burned Mary's painting, she finally found the exit, and as she's about to leave, a fake Gary appeared, acting like he's fine. Fake Gary said to Eve that he found another exit, to which she follows him because she trusted him. But what if fake Gary is not the only thing that messed with Eve? In the third variation, after burning Mary's painting and escaping with Gary, Eve's fake mother appeared, and instead of following Gary, Eve followed the fake mother instead. But why follow her fake mother when she can have both? In the last variation, where it can only be seen in the New Game Plus, Eve decided to sleep on a bed and had a dream of her 9th birthday. In this dream, her parents are there to celebrate with her, and as she continues to dream, eventually, she never woke up ever again. While Eve might not wake up from that last ending, it's much better than what she'll experience in this ending. In the Welcome to the World of Gretena ending, after failing to exit the doll room, Eve found Gary hallucinating. Despite her attempt to talk to him, he didn't recognize her, and this saddens her. She then sits down next to Gary while Mary attempts to persuade her to leave with her. But despite her effort, Eve wouldn't budge and Mary left her. However, seconds later, she comes back and decides to stay with Eve and Gary as they were her only friends. She then decides to throw a welcoming party for them. The screen fades to black, and when it returns, we see Eve and Gary on the floor, presumably dead because the roses they have doesn't have any petals. Mary happily smiles, saying they are now going to be together forever as a demonic looking entity appears in the portrait. But while Mary might have achieved her happiness in that ending, that's a different story in this next ending if she never returns to Eve. In the ending, A Painting's Demise, the scene goes the same way as Welcome to the World of Gertana's ending. However, this time, Mary did not return to Eve and instead exit the painting world. She finally arrived at the real art gallery, but the strange thing is, there is no one in sight. The doors are locked and slowly it became dark until eventually Mary was left all alone, forever doomed to wander the dark hallway all by herself. While being sentenced to roam the art gallery all alone for eternity might be the worst ending for Mary, at least she got the happy ending in the Together Forever ending. In this ending, after landing inside the toy box, Mary made Gary choose between giving her rose to her or plucking Eve's last remaining rose petal, which will end up killing her. Having no choice at all, Gary decided to trade his rose to Mary. Later, we see Mary plucking the rose petal one by one until eventually, it's all gone, killing Gary in the process. Eve then returned to the real art gallery having no memories of what happened. And as she goes down the reception desk, we see Mary with Eve's parents now becoming part of Eve's family as her sister. While Gary might have made a noble choice by sacrificing himself, was it really worth it in the end? This is what this ending showed us. In the ending, Forgotten Portrait, after Eve refuses to fake Gary and return to the real gallery, Eve, who has no memory of what happened before, wanders off in the art gallery until she comes across a painting of a familiar man. Shortly after that, Eve's father came to get her so they could explore the gallery as a family. This might have been a cruel outcome for Gary yet, but thankfully, the next ending is bittersweet for both of them. In the ending, Memory's Crannies, Gary and Eve escapes the painting world, and since Eve never gave her handkerchief to him, when they meet up again, Eve and Gary exchange the same dialogue as they have in Promise of Reunion, but instead of meeting up again, Gary just bids his farewells and leave. Meanwhile, Eve and her mother continues to explore the gallery. I hope you all enjoyed this video. This took longer than I expected, and mostly it's because of the 7 ending that I had to find, but it was worth it at the end. Comment down below what you want to see next, check out my previous video, and subscribe so you won't miss future uploads. That's all. See ya.